Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another exciting edition of the Travel Podcast by Remat Aviation. My name is Brown, and with me in the house today, we have some beautiful people who have vast experience in the topic that we're going to be discussing about. By my left here, we have Captain Martins. Please, sir, can you introduce yourself properly?
I thought it's always ladies first.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so by my right here, rather, we have a beautiful lady here in our midst. Please, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Valerie Efik. Well, should I call it in my mother tongue? My name is Valerie Efik.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's my mother tongue. Yes, on the podcast today to share to you who is watching us about the private jets, the business of private jets, and every other travel stuff that you need to know.
Okay. Thank you very much, Valerie. Welcome to the show. And by my left here, we have Captain Martins. So please, can you introduce yourself properly?
You have already introduced me. Yeah, so my name is Martin Zavan. I captain on private jets currently. So it's a pleasure to be able to discuss, the operational part of things, and then sometimes I love being a passenger on it as well. Trust me.
Welcome, Captain Martins. Welcome to the Travel Podcast once again. By my far right, we have a young man there, Samuel. So can you please introduce yourself properly so we can get to know?
My name is Samuel. I'm an engineer, and I've also happened to work with a travel company that operates private jet travel, which is Remat Aviation. You can check them up on their social media handle. So I'm here today to also share my own knowledge about private jet travel and everything about travel in the podcast.
Okay, thank you very much, Samuel. You're welcome to the Travel Podcast by Remat Aviation. Today we're going to discuss private jets, as you've heard the hint from my colleagues here on set. What is a private jet? A lot of people, I know the word private jet is very familiar. It's a household word, a household name. When you say private jet, people know, oh, we are flying private. But do people really understand what a private jet is? This question goes to the lady by my right here. Please, Smile, can you tell people what really is a private jet and the difference between a private jet and a commercial plane?
Okay, so before I answer that, let me give you all an illustration.
Okay.
Imagine walking into a car shop and there are two sections, and they take you to this other section where you have the Volvo, the other cars,
Okay.
and then they take you to this other section where you have the luxury cars.
Okay.
So you see that, for instance, the luxurious cars, they have lesser seats,
Okay.
but the ones that are for everybody have more seats. So, in one word, a private jet is a private luxurious plane that is used for travels, which means it carries more luxury, more room, more leg room, more comfort, more safety. And I mean, private jet is, for me, I call it an office on the go, because you can practically do everything on a private jet.
Everything?
Yes, everything. Everything.
Yeah, thank you very much for that insight. I mean, that's a very good way to look at it, so that everybody can understand what a private jet is. I believe Captain Martins has more knowledge on, what a private jet is, having been flown, in a private jet and having been a passenger himself and even the pilot of a private jet. Please, sir, can you elaborate, more? I know what you said is okay, but
thank you so much, Brown. Yeah. So it's just everything Valerie said. I started my career flying commercial aircraft for airlines. In comparison, it's like Mulwe. I mean, local pharmacy. Yeah. So I enjoyed it because I love giving service. I like the complexities of the challenges. I love our race. I love the human race. Yeah, I see the human race through the eyes of our Savior Christ. So it's like when you see everybody boarding, then you see the business class passengers, you see well-dressed people in suits. Next thing you see the mama behind that is on board a ticket to come and maybe they'll pick her at the airport. She's asking every question because she looks so lost. We're there boarding and somebody with like very nice cologne is kind of like looking around like, you get a little bit of everything in commercial aviation. So it's more like about quantum travel. You could take, like from the domestic to regional, you're going from upwards of maybe like 35 to 45 passengers, and maybe on like an ARJ 135, 145, you can go up to a CRJ 750, 900, about even 100 passengers going to the Boeing, the 737 getting like 130 passengers, onto the Airbus, maybe the A330, you see 200 plus, going on to like the A350s, and the A380s, where you're kind of close to have like, 1,000 people. So about 500, there are about 500,000 passengers on board. So it's kind of like commercial, and then more logistics with the commercial travel and everything. More turnaround time. You say be at the airport 3 hours before departure because it's booking, checking in, things like this. Security screening. Now, each individual person has to be, follow the procedure. But then you come onto the private jet side where, a jet is like waiting for one person, and like Valerie said, you can, some have showers on it, apart from just a lavatory.
Yeah.
Even the commercial jets, some first classes have showers, but this is now like more executive. You have a bedroom, it's based on budget. You can just have one jet that has one cabin. You can have two cabins inside for privacy.
Yeah.
You can have an office, you can have a bedroom, you can have a conference room. Some of the big aircrafts like a Boeing, the mid-sized jets, have been converted, to like business jets as well. To cater for the kind of office or home on the move they want to, carry. Yeah. So that's basically the difference between the commercial and the private. You are adhere to a routine. You're traveling alongside other numbers of people. Private, it's kind of like minimum parts. It could be one, it could be 12, 13, thereabout. It could just be a group of in an office moving. It could be family. It could be one, business individual. So, Brown, and then another difference is about the weight. They are classified by weight category.
Yeah.
So the size of the jet, the weight as well. And things like that. There's this notion, how do people usually, is it generalization that a difference between a private jet and a big jet, they're like, oh, the bigger ones are safer, and then like, oh, if it's, it's so small, it's just flat in the sky or something, that's what people feel like, So I give them an analogy of the motorway again. I said, if there's a pothole here, there are potholes in the sky because of clouds.
Exactly.
So when you fly through even air, it's very smooth. Sometimes you hit a pocket of cloud and you feel turbulence. So if you hit a pothole in the motorway and you hit a pothole in the Lamborghini, who's going to feel it more?
Motorway, of course.
Yeah, of course, because it's going to do a kind of motion, like, kind of because it's share side, and stuff like that. That's a few differences that come to mind I can talk about.
Okay. Thank you very much, Captain Martins. I think now we have an insight on what a private jet really is and the differences between a private jet and a commercial plane. Now, my next question goes to Mr. Samuel. Samuel, the private jet industry, especially in Nigeria, do you think is an industry that is thriving? Do you think is an industry that is being, is being tapped into? You think it's a lucrative industry? If you want to bring a jet, like for example, for a business person that wants to bring a jet into the country and, put it for hire or for lease, do you think that the industry is a thriving one in the country?
Well, thanks for the question. But to my understanding or to my knowledge, I wouldn't classify the market in Nigeria here are so suitable for private jet travel.
Okay.
But to some extent, if you get to have your inside information, if you get to work, maybe you work closely at the airports, at the
Yeah.
airport terminals,
Yeah.
you might get to have some information or some intel or some connections that might lead you to find a lucrative way of handling private jet charter in Nigeria. But in general, if you want someone to just start it from the beginning without knowledge or without any inside information, it's going to be difficult for you in Nigeria, to be honest. But with the proper channels, if you go through the proper channels, if you are able to get to some information about charter and private travel in Nigeria, of course you'll be able to make it. That's where it will even be very lucrative for you, because the competition will be much
Will be
tougher
less.
for you to get to. So,
That's interesting. That's interesting.
So I'd like to add to that, yeah?
Okay, yes, please.
You know that in everywhere, when there's a new business venture, people tend to want to sit back and see, oh, let me see where this is going to, or let me see what this actually is.
Yeah.
That's what the private jet charter business in Nigeria is at currently.
Okay.
But I believe that it is one of the most lucrative and untapped niche in Nigeria currently. Because, okay, say for instance now, our company, Effort Client Solutions, we offer seat sharing, which people do not really know about it. The few people who know, they want to hoard it because they want you to feel like, okay, I got on a private jet, I did it all by myself. But you don't know that he's with 10 other people on the plane, all shared, you know, they split the money together, and it's called a shared charter. So one thing in Nigeria, no, now you know. So one thing in Nigeria is that I eat. I don't want you to eat because I don't want you to know my source.
Okay.
But if we enlighten people and actually, you know, use the right channels to promote this kind of services,
Yes.
it's one of the lucrative businesses, because a private jet will not be late. There are no cancellations. There are no, oh, the fuel, we didn't get aviation fuel. Oh, we did not do clearance.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that with a private jet charter. So if you're doing like the single seat sharing, you're rest assured that if your flight is for 5, you're leaving at 5.
Yeah.
If your flight is supposed to land at 6, you're landing at 6. There's no, okay, we need to wait on the sky and get clearance, or somebody forgot in the office to do something.
Yeah.
It's not like that in
And
private
very
jets.
organized.
Yeah, so I feel like, you know, of course, you said you've also given us an instance where it can be lucrative,
Yes.
which also boils down to probably marketing, showcasing, information sharing, and all that.
I mean, like just to add to that, I mean, what takes work depends on your disposition, you know, the resources available to you.
Yeah.
Based on information, human resources management, connections.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
I mean, things like this. So when you see before I started managing my business as the president of Remote Aviation, I looked at the market as a very exclusive market to a
Yeah.
few, you know.
Yeah.
But once I migrated from commercial aviation into private aviation, I realized that, oh, okay, I mean, you don't necessarily even need to like have bought the aircraft outright.
Right. Yeah.
You know, there are options for leads.
Okay.
You know, I mean, then you could pay as you charter. You know, then there are regulations that somewhat limit how you could go about this charter. You know, I mean, within a profitable scope of it. So it has to be a very well thought out, researched, you know, I mean, and consulted venture to go in. You know, which is what we're doing, and then we are quite profitable at it. And once I ventured into leases and things like this, I realized that okay, I mean, you don't have to, just like Valerie mentioned, don't know my source or no. Sometimes it's a partnership.
Yeah.
You don't have to outright own the jet by yourself. You know, I mean, like we have a partnership in the US.
Yeah.
There are other companies that, have them with their bank, we do a joint
Mhm.
funding and sharing.
Mhm.
You could even lease it for 6 months or
Yeah.
for a peak period.
Yeah.
You understand? And
Yeah.
then is it a period of a lot of campaigning? Is it a period of are we hosting like maybe Commonwealth Games?
Yeah.
Will an Olympics come our way?
Yeah.
Or something like this. Then you could, make use of it. These things boost the economy and remain, afterward. And you will see the bulk of the travel is from other corporate executives.
Yeah.
Banks, cement companies, maybe like Dangote, Boa. You could see like other group of companies as
big
well.
entertainment companies.
Exactly.
Entertainment.
That time is they really understand the notion of time. How precious it is.
Yeah.
It's a currency that is more precious than money. So when you know that, then you can take your meetings on the go and all. That's why our space is more. But on the global scene, like we've been interacting with Clan Solutions and how they've been doing things. We are Remand Division. Have been doing charters around the world. Like sometimes people coming into Nigeria, some people going out there. Sometimes we have like empty legs that we bring and avail them to some of our clients. These are services that are exclusive and it's based on this mission. And if you promote it better, you see that you could actually be quite profitable. Let me give an analogy. A private jet, you just like every other plane, just like even a car, you're going from point A to B. You're going to pay for the fuel from A to B and back to A.
To A.
So is the cost going to cover? So other modal transportation, like road, they know that I'm going to A, I'll wait there and I'll fill up the car and I'll come back to B. But because of the essence of time or location or things like this, the private jet has to go sometimes come back, and that's why it's quite expensive. So if you also are advertising and being able to market those, like what we've been saying, calling empty legs, right? And then we've been fitting out some of our clients with them, to make their schedule flexible and take advantage of things like that. Then it maximizes the efficiency of your operations. So that's why there's a depth to tap into, and then there's a good. You have to have a level of networking.
Yeah.
Monopoly doesn't always help you. People feel like, like you said, I want to eat, I don't want. But partnerships help. Then sometimes every client could have somebody. How did in another location in England that ordinarily would be like, we're just too kind of afford. But Remand Aviation has this charter is going to the UK.
Yeah.
You want to depart from Luton. Okay, they're going to be in Stansted. Can you shuttle over? It's just across town. And then if it has the fare, just the return, you can afford it.
Yeah, sure.
And then with that now, we are also able to even reduce the pricing for who wants to depart Accra, that we're departing our station, Lagos, or Abuja, to go to Accra and pick them and take them to London. And so it makes it maybe more, instead of possibly that plane would have been on ground, and then a few days later you'll be like, there are bills for parking and crew and all that make it no longer lucrative for you to operate it. So there are flexibilities there. Let's just encourage more collaboration, more information sharing, and things like this to get the business even a bit more profitable and lucrative.
Okay, so this what you just said just reminded me of a time when I went for a presentation. This was like maybe 2017 when I was still working for Jet Setter. It was supposed to be like for executives on what are we offering? When they say, what are you bringing to the table? You can't just come here and tell us, private jets, what are you bringing to the table? And when I told them, have you ever heard of block hours? They were just looking at me like, what is that? And I'm like, okay, what about fractional ownership? They're like, we've never heard of that.
And these are very educated people.
In their own sphere.
They have degrees, they have business degrees, they have ways of managing finance. But every niche has its own, trade secrets. That you have to have it. Can you hear what she said in 2017? You understand?
Yeah.
I mean, present day 2024.
I'm very sure there are people who still do not know what that is.
Exactly.
Because I know sometimes when I talk about it on LinkedIn and say, we have, for executives, we have fractional ownerships that, you can get. They'll be like, okay, fractional ownership, does that mean I fly a plane. No, it means you can own a plane for a period of time, which you mentioned. And we also have block hours, which is okay, you can pay for 100 hours, 150 hours whenever you're flying. Why I always recommend block hours for frequent flyers is because there are times you want to fly and you can't just start asking somebody, oh, do you have a jet I can book? And then they start running around looking for a jet. And you now start looking for dollars to pay. You know how dollars is now. But with block hours, you've already paid down. You just call the company, oh, I'm going to so place at so time, and then jet is there and you're out. So what they do is they take out the hours you use. And so it's a lot of education to be done in this sector because many people have the money to be able to afford this kind of services, but they don't know how to go about it. They don't know how to get the value for their money.
They don't know that it's even that affordable.
Yes.
Some fuel is going to cost them an arm and a leg. And now, it is not only common here. I mean, when we do businesses across, because in aviation is global, and you go to the United States, sometimes it's Europe. Sometime back we had it was supposed to be a medical evacuation, but this person was stabilized and they could actually, come to of course, we had the Doctors Without Borders traveling with us. They brought defibrillators, extra oxygen equipment and things like this on board to monitor the person until their patient, who is a passenger, until we flew them. And that's where we talk about the private jet, even having a bed and all that. No, the ambulances, this is a different discussion.
Air ambulance.
We're talking about the situation where it's not that bad. It's critical, but you have to get to where help is, or where you feel you have better health insurance put in place. And let's not look at it like, oh, maybe in our part of the world because of hospital. No, even any developed part of the world at all. Some people used to go to Cuba for particular treatments. Some people have a kind of cancer. They say, okay, rather than US, I'll go to Canada to have social procedure. Depends. They are specialists. Some people have a preference. They just want to see a particular doctor that somebody has recommended. That this, even when they are. So it's well within their rights to go across. So when you see you're going transcontinental, going to another location and all, some places are ahead more than others, based on information and efficiency of use of their resources. Fractional sharing, many law firms in the US don't own their jets to themselves. 4 or 5 law firms, which is what 5 or 6 of our big sons and their law firms can do here. Why is our delivery system not as efficient as it should be? Because sometimes, just traveling for the cases, I'll send this person, the representation may not be as adequate as that firm would have been if, and then how much is the client paying that would leave Abuja to go to Sokoto? Let me send one of my, junior I don't know how lawyers do it. No disrespect, please. These are learned people. I don't want to go and call anybody junior and then they come for me. But, so it happens like this. So if you see there, I have a partner in the US, who is my resident director on the Remote Aviation Incorporated in Baltimore. Today we're talking. He said, okay, Captain, I'm going to be on the plane for this case. In Houston and all. And so during the 2 or 3 hours, and I'm like airborne and all that, then we'll discuss it. And then this is where it comes. This law firm has fractional, sharing with another law firm. But because of that, those 3 hours are valuable to him. And I also scheduled our meeting. We're on the Zoom while he's on his plane, and we handle things that, and he gets there, does his case, or consults his client, or whatever they have to do next tomorrow. So if I were to wait a week or 2 because he's in Houston today, and tomorrow he's back in Philadelphia, next tomorrow he's going all the way East Coast, maybe to, California to Los Angeles, for instance, or let's say San Diego, then you'll never be able to catch him. One, commercial aviation, you may not have internet, or you have, but there's a time when,
everything goes
down. You have to shut down phones to pass through security, and you miss one call or the other. So it's, a very vast field that brings a lot of efficiency, and time management, productivity to it, when we talk about it. So we need people knowing, and of course we are talking about the highlighting that it's possible, there's the information out there, people have done it, Valerie has vast experience from, doing things like this. She just mentioned 2017, all the way to 2024, because that's almost a decade already of doing, and she was in it before that time.
Yes.
So if you actually tap into consultants, to people that are doing things like this, there are one or two other people. Law firms can come together and say, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
What can do? I think I know a law firm here, that also has their jets. At some point, they even had more than one. So I know when they are not using it, they charter it, and they've done it right. They are commercial. They've gone to get an AOC. So nobody comes to say, "Oh, you're using a private jet for," for commercial charter, which is chartering of the private jet. There are regulations to follow. You don't always have to feel you need to cut corners, so you can do it right. And partnerships, people coming together.
Very important.
So, like Wolf said, one law firm among the five, all of them come together with a calendar at the beginning of the year. So things can come up.
Yeah.
But then they will talk among themselves and make compromises, trade back and forth. Then they will collectively group to a point where they now need more than one jet collectively. But if it was just one of them, they wouldn't even be up to the structure of the jet yet. Yeah. So it's a vast, nice field to explore partnerships and explore how efficient and affordable actually it is.
Yeah, affordability.
Yeah, so thank you, Captain Martins and Ms. Valerie, for that insight. Now, this brings us to the next question. Yeah, Sam, so I'm going to Sam out. Sam, thank you. So this brings us to the next question, which is what are the common factors that people should consider before flying a private jet?
Let me take that.
Yeah.
The factors will decide for you. How valuable is your time? You understand? How valuable is your time? You understand? How important, and urgent. How much do you want your schedule not to be, temporary? It's possible. Airlines have their on-time performance that reports that, over this period or this year, we were 97% on time. We canceled only 1% of flights. Do you want to be among the 1% of flights that was cancelled? Where you were going? If you had I've had some important meetings in my life. You understand that when I could not afford to fly private, then I went there 2 or 3 days ahead of time. To be close to the vicinity. It could be traveling to another country. And then, there are factors you could put in. But when you get busier, you realize that, this meeting too. That's why I said the factors to decide for you. So if you have something to do here today, that's that important, I have to do in another 3 hours. Now, look at it like this. There are private jets that will fly within our VSMS space. The highest we can go to 41,000 feet. And then there are those private jets that can go above 41,000 feet, which are flying in the region of very few airplanes. Now, there are airways that will follow around, and if you look at the globe and, there are airways in the air that will follow. They are published for commercial travel. For separation of traffic, there's lots of airplanes. Aviation has, grown like that. So, going from point A to B is not always in a straight line. You may be going on a curve in an airway because there are other traffic to consider. There are airspaces to avoid. It could be a military controlled operations on the ground, and they will put you at a danger area or a prohibited area. It could be, a presidential state house where you're not allowed to overfly it from ground to, maybe within the area that airplanes fly. We don't want to drop in a bomb on our president's house, from above or something like this. Yeah. So, but there are altitudes that you can now accomplish, that take you out of the rim of these limitations. So a flight of 6 hours for another person can take you 4 hours.
Yeah.
Wow. On a private jet.
Yes.
Wow.
So God has given it to us. It's God's time, you understand. But you can go to the table and negotiate more with Him. You understand? God, you give me 90 years, there's another person. But because you give me this money too, I cannot make this 91 and 50 years.
Right.
You accomplish 150 years, another person that will accomplish 90. Because instead of a 6 hour flight, you take a 4 hour flight and get to that destination in the straight line.
True.
So those factors will determine for you.
Mm.
Yeah, that's just how you decide if you're going to fly commercial or private.
Okay.
I think another factor that we often do not emphasize about is health.
Okay.
Flying privately gives you some kind of protection.
Okay.
You know, okay, let's take for instance when we had the COVID
Oh, yeah.
and people were traveling together.
Yeah.
If you went on a commercial plane,
Yeah.
there is a 101% chance that you catch the COVID.
Mm.
But if it's in a private jet,
Yeah.
because of the measures that were taken then, fumigation, Abby, what do they call it? Is it fumigation or
Disinfection.
disinfection? Yeah,
Disinfection,
sorry. Disinfection, you know, you giving space, you having some space to yourself. There's 0 to maybe 5% chance of catching the virus.
Slimmer.
Yeah,
Yes,
so there's a slimmer chance. So I think health is like the top priority of considering traveling on a plane, on a private plane. Then comfortability, productivity, and every other, you know, relevant stuff that people do not really talk about.
I mean, how precious is? I mean, how, like we say, those factors. You know, how valuable is your life? Is you know, but we have to go about life and face the risks that we face. We all live at the mercy of God.
Right.
You know, but it's like this. If you recount the COVID experience, we had quite some important personalities
Yes.
that died that we've moved on. Yeah, so I mean, you look at it like some quite very important and prominent personalities. Though, why do we say important? Because some people haven't developed a lot. Sometimes it's not you that even developed yourself. There are countries that have had scholarship schemes and all that dating back to before other people were born, and people have gone through this education and all. Then you get to the peak of the time that they are actually deploying this knowledge, and the results will help a multitude of people. I think their lives were cut short because they came in contact and some was travel.
Yeah.
You know, around the world, you know, I mean, some people had underlying ailments that they would still survive, they'll still be alive, but because of complications arising due to COVID, you know, I mean, we lost them sadly. So we cannot underestimate,
Health.
you know, and then the health advantage of traveling private. It's a smaller space.
True.
Fewer people, it's easier to manage, it's
Yeah.
easier to clean after, you know, and disinfection stays, you know, longer.
Yeah.
Just because you are transmitting less germs, you know, in the process, you know. I mean, there are people that get sick to a point. Even pre-COVID, we used to hear things like a sterile room. Yeah, they'll keep them because their immunity weakened to a point that they needed them to build it back gradually and all before they will expose them back into this filthy world with all those germs. You know, but we are tough. I mean, they are part of us now.
Right.
Yeah, we coexist.
Yes, and I also wanted to add to build on what Captain said about when the factors determine what you should choose for yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's actually true because there's this renowned public speaker. So he even as he got to a famous stage, he was still using commercial travel. So at some point, he realized that okay, he couldn't meet. He was having bookings here and there all over the world. So he realized that he couldn't meet up. Like he can't catch 3 different in a particular day. He couldn't do that. But you can achieve that with a private.
Yeah.
So that pushed him.
Multiple
So
locations.
he's a simple guy, a very simple guy. He didn't want to engage in any
It's not about being
luxurious
simple.
It was-
Yeah.
So he didn't choose it for himself.
Yeah.
Those factors actually
Chose it for him.
Chosen for him. So
He
and he realized.
I would have done that.
And just like
Yeah.
you said, you had to travel. You had a meeting. And you had to travel 3 days before time. Okay, you're traveling 3 days before time. Now, when you get there, you are spending money.
Exactly.
You're
Yeah.
spending money to feed yourself
Yeah.
before prior to
Yeah.
that. So sometimes you might even realize that if you add,
You're spending more.
yeah, you realize
It
you might be
becomes a
spending
hassle.
more. It becomes
Mhm.
a hassle. You're spending more for what reason? So it's better you just use the private jet. Travel.
Makes
I
sense.
mean, it happened once that, like you said, that's why private travel, I mean, the education around it is limited.
Yes.
You don't, the entertainment industry itself, see how huge it is.
Yeah.
You know, you look at the boxers, the sports persons, the musicians in entertainment and in sports. They all have to like deploy these means of transport. Like sometimes it could be look at like prize monies for sports for individual sports like tennis or golf. You understand? So imagine that golfer, you know, it was coming from one open and going to another or has camp to
Yeah.
prepare for the next, and it's going to travel commercial and all that.
The whole hustle and bustle.
Yeah, you need. You know, I've talked about the circadian rhythm. I mean, for us pilots, you get used to it a bit. Travel and the jet lag thing and all that catching up. I kid you not, when I travel private, yeah, as a passenger, it's different when you're flying. You are dissipating some mental energy and all that.
Yeah.
So fatigue will catch up, so you have to get that rest. But when I've flown on the Gulfstream as a passenger at about 45,000 feet, yeah, I did that once from Farnborough to Lagos. And I arrived Lagos, and I mean, I kicked into business the next day like this.
Yeah.
I didn't feel well, I
You're
mean,
not worn
you
out.
would say there is no time difference, but I came from US into the UK, and then the next day I took that flight from Farnborough, UK to Lagos. So I didn't even feel the jet lag of changing time zones, you know, across the west coast in the US all the way, you know, to Europe and then coming down to, you know, to Africa. So that's how it goes. I mean, your body is you're less fatigued. You know, I mean, the pressurization of these aircraft is actually better as well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a lot of factors. On that occasion, I was talking about flying. It was an entertainer, you know, a musician. But they had a show in Atlanta and they were in Lagos, you know. And they had already scheduled another aircraft to come and pick them in Lagos, which developed a fort in Atlanta. So they had to deploy us to take them from Lagos to Atlanta with another aircraft. We had a continuous. Now we could not go non-stop. Like that one that was the Global Express that's coming from America. So we went from Lagos to Santa Maria de Azores. It's an island in the Atlantic. You landed, took fuel, and then landed Jersey. Then, you know, took fuel again, cleared customs immigration, and we're into, you know, Atlanta. I mean, it was just, but of course, augmented crew. You understand? We went all the trip about 1 week, but we had augmented 2 sets of crew. We take turns flying to rest. So I mean, not just you get things done. You get around the world. Like imagine that same flight you had to take an airline. The connections you are going according to the route of the airliner.
Yes.
If it's Air France, they'll take you from Lagos and go back. To
Yeah.
Lagos. Maybe you have a 4-hour connecting period and all that. You know, this checks through the airport and everything. Then from there, you now fly. Maybe, you know, maybe because of their own routing and their business commercial model, they are landing New York first because they don't have enough partners to just go one way, or they are sharing with Lufthansa. So Lufthansa goes to, you know, Atlanta, but they don't go. You know, things like this. So you have now coming to New York, take your bags again, check into another airplane. You could take 2 hours to travel, where you'll be there in 12, 14 hours on the private jet. So it's, I mean, time is of the essence.
Yes.
Yeah, when you play.
Just like whiskey now.
Yeah, in that league.
That is of
Yeah.
the
This brings us to the next question, which says, what are some of the unique experiences or amenities that private jet passengers can enjoy on a private jet? Anybody?
That's what it's done.
Well, there are actually a lot of amenities you enjoy on a private jet compared to if you're on a commercial flight. Like with the simple ones, like the private Wi-Fi, you're entitled to a private Wi-Fi. You're entitled to a private cuisines on the private jet charter. So you also have enough, like you said at the beginning of the podcast when you were describing private jet charter, enough leg room and enough. You have the comfortability of it. It's different and it's very comfortable compared to the commercial airline travel. So and the attention to details on a private jet charter is better compared to that on a commercial flight. because there are less people, so there's more attention given to you on a private jet charter. So basically, from the cuisine to the network.
You're not talking about the one people want to hear, the champagne.
No, even apparently even on some commercials, you can order for champagne.
True,
You
true.
can order
But
for
it's limited
champagne.
order now.
Yeah,
Private jet is
Yeah,
unlimited.
yeah. So the difference
One
might be.
bottomless champagne.
Yes.
The private jet.
Yes. I think it's just a VIP treatment.
Yeah.
Just basically that's what differentiates private jet charter and commercial is the services.
Yeah.
The like you in a commercial flight you're going through the general terminal, but the private
This
jet
one
is
is
private
bespoke.
terminal. So those are the differences that actually make it more sophisticated than the other. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's very interesting. Anybody has any other thing to add to that?
For me, it's always the food. I love
the
food.
food is always better.
I love food, so it's always the food because you now have the opportunity to be selective of what you want on your menu. So you can make your menu other than, commercial, you just get in there, whatever they serve, whether your stomach likes it or not, you have to eat.
Yeah. I mean,
But on
to be fair,
private jets,
the business class and the first class sometimes have limited options.
it's
Just
still
one or two.
limited, yeah.
Even though sometimes you can even message the airlines ahead and say, oh,
Yeah,
you're vegetarian or
yeah.
this, but it's still limited. Unlike, in private charter, like, they are the ones to come to you.
To say, what
it's
would you
bespoke to
like?
What would you like to
Yeah.
have on your flight next Saturday? Or next, it could be 2 weeks, it could be a month. It's like, and sometimes they don't have to talk to you. Your assistant handles that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you like to eat this. Or this period of, their religion, they are fasting, they're not going to eat at
Right,
this time, so send them at this time.
right.
Or we'll travel at this time,
Yeah.
so that, things like this. I mean, those are all together. The amenities is the whole package.
So the next question is, how do you charter a private jet? Like, what are the steps? Do you have to just make a phone call, or there are specific places you go to, or specific people you talk to, or what are the steps of chartering a private jet?
Yeah, to get a private jet is actually not as difficult as people might think it is. There are actually websites you can actually go to and get your charter. One of the websites you can even go to is a Remat Aviation website, remataviation.com. They have a private jet section where you can charter your private jets. There are different options that you can find there.
Okay.
So whatever style you want or how you want to travel, there are a number of people you want to travel with.
Okay.
You see those options all on the website, and it's just for you to select whichever one you want. And once you select, your quote automatically will be generated on the website, and the company, Remat Aviation, will reach out to you.
Okay.
And another way you can also charter is if you can call their agencies around in Abuja, like Remat Aviation also.
Yeah.
You can call their customer lines. I think we'll put it up on the screen so that everybody will see.
All right.
You can call their customer line, and someone will attend to you and will take your itinerary, and within even less than an hour you get your quote and everything.
That's fast.
And you'll be able to book a private jet charter. There are so many other agencies out there, but the most prominent one and very reliable that I know of is Remat Aviation.
All right. Thanks, Sam, for that.
Okay, so for Effort Client Solutions, our bookings are pretty much straightforward. We have a dedicated number that you can call, and we have a website. We also have our Instagram, Facebook channels where you can reach out to us if you want to book. And it's something that can be done under minutes. Just call us, give us your itinerary, get your quotation, and pay, get your invoice and confirmation, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. So our next question is, what influences the costs of chartering a private jet? What are the factors that are factored in that, gives rise to the costs? And is it affordable, to
Captain will handle that.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, it should be more commercial department talking about it. I mean, I have an
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, what we've been doing, it's about the route. What's the distance you're going to cover? So you look at the charges are for distance per hour. A sector which could be a little bit under an hour, but after over 30 minutes is considered an hour. So if you're going to go, let's say from London, Gatwick, let's say, across Atlantic to maybe East Coast in US, like Baltimore, and it's a 6 hour or 6.5 hour flight.
Yeah.
Then the calculation will be what the cost is. If it's a domestic flight, maybe a short flight, like let's say Lagos to Abuja, which is just an hour as well. But bear in mind that it's going to be charges to go and return. So now, do you want to go there, let the jet wait with you, and then return? That's going to influence the cost of the charter. Yeah, if it's a domestic travel, some people just have a meeting for 3 or 4 hours. They have the jet wait at the airport. They go to their meeting. They could even use a helicopter to get there earlier. Use a chopper, which we can still, provide. And then you get back to the airport, and then so there's a complimentary 3 hours waiting accompanied your booking. So even if we're going to drop you off, that 3 hours is complimentary. If you want us to wait within that time, and then then if it's a drop off and you know for sure that okay, you're not going to put somebody else on the jet to go back, then the cost could be a little bit more. However, you're going to pay return freight. I mean, this brings us back to things like vacations. There's some locations that are quite remote but lovely to holiday. And if you look at the map, we thought maybe I had an experience like that recently when we flew from Fort Lauderdale to Barbados. There's commercial travel, but it's limited to maybe like 1 or 2 flights. And then some of the locations don't have, you may have to connect. For instance, you're going to Barbados from Nigeria, there's no commercial travel that is direct. So you may most likely have to go to Europe to go there, or go to America to go. So when you have the services of private jet, in these kind of locations, if you wanted 3 days, a location or wedding or just a holiday, or you wanted to stay for 5 days, it's nice. You could just fly in there and then have it wait. So that would influence the cost of the charter, because how many days is it waiting for you? If it's your aircraft and you're parking it, it's much easier. But if you are chartering it and you want that convenience that, it should wait for you 3 days, 4 days for a party or a vacation or a seminar. People take meetings to some places that are serene like this because the productivity, is improved. It's the relaxation that is needed, and then sometimes it's just holiday. So if you factor in waiting period or it's a drop off, number of flight hours for that route, number of passengers as well. It's another factor that is considered in the charging, because you're going to have to allocate catering services and things like that for the number of passengers, depending on the passengers on board. So these are the factors that determine how much a charter flight is going to cost.
All right. Thank you very much, Captain Martins, for that insight. Viewers, you have it all. If you want to charter a private jet, the website is on the screen. You can key into it and then, find yourself a comfortable private jet to any destination of your choice. Now, when we're talking
not just one, by the way, you have options.
Yeah, you have options. Yeah, you have options.
We are committed to bringing information and
having
showing people different access. I mean, if you don't remember these ones and then this ones, you can even compare. The services. Can compare the codes and things like that, but generally the costings are always going to be
within the
same range.
So you can travel to any location you wish, for a vacation or business trip. Just get comfortable. So talking about vacations, I mean, it brings us to the next topic of discussion. Vacations. Everybody wants to go for a vacation. I mean, if you work like 6 months, in a year, or maybe after a whole year, you wish to like go and unwind somewhere with your family or with your loved ones or with your spouse, you know, this is the podcast that gives you everything that you need to know. So, speaking of vacations, we know we have people on set here who can give us proper insight on vacations. Mr. Sam, please, what are the tourist or let me say vacation sites that are available, for people who want to key into vacations? What are the, I mean, the most,
The packages,
the packages, yeah, sorry, that's what I, thank you for that. The
Yeah.
packages available, for people who want to key into vacations, the destinations and the packages available, and are they budget friendly?
Okay, usually these vacations they come in different categories. You can have ones for couples, you can have
Okay.
ones for singles, you can also have ones for families.
Okay.
So at usually how we do it, where I work at Payment Aviation, how we do it, we have these packages uh, divided into these categories, and these categories have different activities that clients might want to perform. Like when it comes to family trips, we might recommend you to places like Dubai, recommend you to places like Seychelles, and those places where you can do family activities such as you can watch live presentation, live shows. You can also go to the water parks. You can also go to the museums, the underwater zoos in the Dubai. So skydiving and all those activities that we know okay that to be fun. Doing
Lots
it in
of
a group.
recreation.
Lots
Mm.
of recreation, doing it in a group compared to maybe there are some activities that maybe might not be necessarily enjoyable as a group, maybe as a single or as a couple.
Yeah.
Let's say like kayak
Mm.
in some places like Maldives and Mauritius.
Mm.
So we put those kind of things into consideration when we're tailoring our vacations. So yeah, basically Maldives, Seychelles, Dubai, to mention the list, those are the destinations that are very favorable. At
Okay.
least for the part of the world where we live in Nigeria,
Mm.
you realize that okay, these are the places that Nigerians are patronizing more
Okay.
compared to the Western world. The Western world, maybe places like Barbados, they love to go to Barbados, Jamaica.
Mm.
Those are the places that maybe people
Jamaica.
Yeah, the
from
Caribbean
abroad.
islands are
Yeah.
lots of fun.
Yeah.
But you
I
hardly
mean,
find
yeah.
exactly.
If you want to party a lot.
Mm.
I mean, the trip to like Barbados was, like you said, some of the places don't have much activities as a family, but it could just be a relaxation.
Yeah.
Just make up pool, maybe back to your room, do lunch. I mean, there's so much restaurants and bars all
Mhm.
littered all around the resort.
Mhm.
You understand? I mean, and then it's all inclusive from one of the packages that I saw.
Yes.
That Remark was tailoring. And then for that Barbados, resort particularly that we're at, and then the beach is just there. Just take a walk. It's just to go and be in sync with nature. The air is different. Trust me, like when you don't do it, you don't know that you could actually be missing out on that kind of
Okay.
recharge. But when you go, you know that it's actually invigorating. You get bubbled back to life, and your energy is like on another level after
Yes.
And some of these resorts, there's one in I think it was the Maldives. I mean, you are almost off grid. You just realize that deliberately their Wi-Fi doesn't even work very well in certain
So
areas.
that kind of thing won't encourage.
Yeah, interaction.
No, but per se, like you haven't been like saying almost off the grid.
Mm.
That encourage fraudulent people to go to professional areas.
I don't think so. I mean, it's just for people that are workaholics. I mean,
To just go and
the
chill.
normal day work now is like it will go around with you
Right.
because you are so useful and productive where you are. The moment you step out, and that is how, because we are now selling productivity.
Yeah.
So somebody that wants to step out of their office, it's obvious that there's a vacuum.
Right.
And in as much as they are on leave, some emails say, you set email reminders or tell people that I'm unavailable, but your boss will want to reach out. Sometimes you are the boss yourself, but you realize that something important. I mean, the calendar for the year is always filled with one important event or
Or the
another.
other.
So but these places encourage you to just go off with a bit. I mean, just leave work for a minute. So if internet, for instance, the Wi-Fi is frustrating, you'd be compelled to just leave it and dive into the pool.
Exactly.
Or just kayak or do something, like, yeah. So I think, I like when we're discussing on some options. I mean, like what every client as well does, and say, oh, Raymond will have this, we have. I mean, it was just nice that they had some of their clients that preferred some of the things we had.
Yeah.
And then not necessarily us saying, okay, we now necessarily need to develop this kind of package that they already have as well, because now we have the another sister company that we know that is, and then we kind of like have an assurance of their, service delivery.
Exactly.
When we were sending people to Maldives initially, some people were so fussy that we had to ensure that the guides were just like exclusive to us. We did that in Zanzibar as well, going to the prison island, going to some place, the spice market, and all that. We just had to ensure that those, and these are the kind of things that you enjoy. Because sometimes it's good to just go and explore a place. But I've been to many places, sometimes on vacation, and did enjoy half of it until I go back and realize, oh, this and this and this in this location that I put out. You understand? I mean, you just have to follow Gono Road. So because we spoke about this on one of our meetings, so it's good if you can throw more light on some of those exciting, travel packages. There was something your company have for Tunisia as well.
Yeah.
I think it was Rabat. And then there was something else we were talking about, Marrakesh or something. So maybe you can also enlighten the viewers and then just give them some more options to what you do have as well in your kitty regarding vacations like that.
Okay. So for us, when it comes to vacations, we try not to force anything on anybody. Since our company is more of a solutions providing company, we like to sit with the clients. What do you like to do? What kind of place do you like? What makes you relax? What makes you, some people are nature lovers. Some people just love to shop till they drop. Me, for instance. Some people love food. Me too. So you have to take them to a location where they would enjoy the things that they don't ordinarily enjoy. You get? So we had a client in February that was saying she has never had a good gelato. So her boyfriend was like, okay, package something. Let me take her there. So they went to Turkey first, came back and went to some other places. And she had a best time. And for her, it wasn't about the travel, but it was about the value that she got from. People just hop on, because everybody is going, like now, everybody is going to Lebanon. They feel, it snows in Lebanon, you can do this, you can do that. But is that actually what you need as a person?
As a person, yeah.
Do you understand? You may just need somewhere with nature to heal from all this, accumulated stress and all. But you're going to a place where the noise is too much. You can never enjoy that. It's when you come back, you feel like, why did I even go on this vacation? I didn't even gain anything. Meanwhile, you didn't listen to what your body wanted. So that's why we always sit down with the clients, get to understand what they like, the things that they've done, or maybe do you have anything on your bucket list that you need to tick off? We work on that and create tailored packages. So we don't have readily available packages to say, okay, this to this at 1,200 or this to this at. We just do it based on specifications and needs.
And also choose the location based
on the needs of the clients.
This is, I guess, it's a variety, it's a spice of
exactly.
There's something for everybody.
Exactly.
All the various temperaments that we have.
So I had a client that said she had always wanted to know the history of Red Indians. You understand? So that was her only wish. This year, if that's the only thing I can do, just go there, see them, mix up with them, be with the locals.
Their history.
Yes. So imagine sending that kind of person to maybe Egypt or Morocco. It's a waste of travel time. Exactly. So that's why I always prefer that we do the tailor to suit packages.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So, with your vast experiences, which vacation spots or locations would you advise the listeners to try out, and which of the vacation spots are or locations are underrated that you feel like the listeners might have not tried out? Which can you recommend,
Mm.
like for listeners to try out?
I know most people would be surprised, but China. I schooled in China, so people don't know.
Can speak Chinese.
You
Chong,
don't
chong, chong.
So there are.
Are you serious? Wow.
So there was this incident, you understand?
Yeah.
We were furniture shopping, I mean, for the Rema offices,
Yeah.
to equip their
Yeah.
offices. And then we're going to like different furniture stores. And then this one furniture store was like Chinese owned.
Wow.
The Chinese were there and everything. So when we were talking and all, so he just approached the guy, started speaking Mandarin.
Are you serious?
This is like culture
So
connection.
excited when
He
you-
almost carried the furniture to give
Oh
us.
my goodness.
So I was-
Actually, very excited.
Okay, so
when
what's
you
travel in
like-
Mandarin?
travel?
Yeah. If I want to
it's-
say I love to travel.
you love to go.
Mm.
What I need is with you.
Well, I need Zicho.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, China actually is a very lovely place, but given the way they handle their own economy, people always feel okay. No, those people they are different.
Yeah.
They are too weird
Yeah.
to be around, but they actually have very nice the nature.
Nature.
They have beautiful nature around
Mhm.
China.
Something on my
They
bucket
have-
list to like,
Right,
that
China.
Great Wall,
The
Yeah.
Great Wall, things like the Great Wall, things like the ice city, a city made of ice. They go there during the winter period.
Oh,
The
awesome.
buildings are actually it's artificially made, but it's so
Okay.
beautiful.
Wow.
You have places like they call this place Dalian.
Mm.
It's like the whole city is lighted. It's like lights everywhere.
Mm.
It's very beautiful.
Mm.
So like even the Chinese cuisine.
Yeah.
We have some Chinese.
Of course,
restaurants.
of course, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah,
of
yeah,
course.
a global
Yeah.
cuisine.
Of course.
Yeah.
And when you talk about seafood,
Mm,
China
they,
is
they,
top.
they are.
Seafood, China is
Mm.
top. So is people actually underrate China, Asia in particular. They underrate. They feel like okay, no, they are not social. They are not. But they actually
But is it
really
easy to go there?
That's it. That's the problem. It's not as easy as it is.
Yeah.
Now it's not as easy as it used to be. After the COVID, the whole
Oh.
COVID thing, they are very strict. Even till now, they are very strict with COVID.
Are you serious?
Protocols.
Protocol, yeah.
So unlike other countries that relax, but then they're still.
Mhm.
So although I blame them to some extent because they're actually kind of stringent with their rules.
Yeah.
So people feel it's too stringent.
But I think that's what has helped them keep their value system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you
Asia
see-
as a whole, look at Japan as well.
Mm.
There is no matter how you could be a resident forever, but
Yeah.
not become a citizen.
Yeah.
Citizens have distinct features. This is us. I mean, so and like you said, very some value system they've retained.
Yeah.
Not just taking around every other thing that has gone around the world. I mean, it's imperative what they have been able to achieve with that. And so not to blame them. I mean, what works for A may not necessarily
Exactly.
work for B.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So China is actually a very underrated place.
Me, I want to go to Korea.
People love-
Please, people should take me to
Asia
Korea.
in particular.
Asia,
Yeah.
So
I
I
mean,
think that's one country people.
So Remat will take
when it comes
Efa
to-
Clan to Korea. Deal?
Yeah, when we buy our 10th private jet, we
Okay.
have a few
Exactly.
flights to Korea on that. Just come. What is it in the news? You understand?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you said it. Listen, it's on your YouTube.
And you know, I
The
don't
internet
forget.
never
I don't
The
forget.
internet never forget. I said it there, but so we'll say, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll now get to that point that we'll have the 9th jet.
Mm.
We can't buy that thing yet because we'll have to. So we could not maybe buy 5 at the same time. We didn't necessarily buy a 10th jet. We bought 11, 12, and 13. I mean, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I can add to it, For me, the sun
Yeah.
is energy. I mean, yeah, I love to wake up and go to where the sun is rising. You understand? And then just God recharges me with the sun.
Yeah.
So the Dominica, just like the other Caribbean islands, has this, weather is the same most of the year round. And then you're guaranteed that rising of the sun and that sunset, you don't see it's just beautiful. And then because of the landscape, there's no tall skyscrapers that are going to block some people's view, and you're in the street and you're shielded, so you don't notice. Or some other houses are shielding your sunrise, so you don't notice the sunrise. And I mean, your most every other resort, and most of the buildings, really residences, are built around. You have the choice. Everybody wants to get this east facing or south or west facing, decorum that is around it. So I'm big about those areas where you get just near perfect weather. So you get some seasons where they have those hurricanes and all that. So when you delve deep into these places, there are places that have the best places, the best times to travel to, within that year. But if you happen to catch them in this best season, I mean, some of the Caribbean islands, Jamaica inclusive, Dominica, Barbados, the Bahamas, Nassau. That's one. And then the carnivals. Sometimes there's not so much else to do, but if it's a season that brings people together, I love to connect. And then see other people's cultures. So different people come to experience a common culture. And there is that uniting factor. You're not in that economic world where everybody is so strict and focused on their own hustle, and all that stuff. I mean, there are some of those places out there that I definitely recommend the Caribbean islands. And if, like Valerie said, you are the shopaholic type and all that, then of course the cities like the Milan, London,
Paris.
some of the places, Paris, you want to explore when you're on vacation.
Very interesting. Thanks, Captain Martins, for that insight. Now, it brings us to the next question. What are some of the must-have items to pack for a vacation, and how can travelers stay safe and healthy while on the vacation?
Who goes first?
You start from Sam.
Do I need to carry a mosquito net? Do I need to carry an insecticide? Or do I need to carry a helmet or wear a shield? Oh.
Well, if usually some items is from as you travel regularly, you realize okay you need them. But for someone that is maybe this your first time you're going out there, most definitely, if you're going to a country where the weather is cold, definitely you have to pack thick wears. So that's one thing. Then
Location.
yes, and as a traveler also, maybe if you don't want to maybe use your phone, maybe you can have a camera. Maybe that might not be for everybody, but
Everybody's there, a vlogger, so
it depends on the kind of person you are. You can have a camera. You can also have maybe your simple things like your neck pillows. You can travel with that. You can also travel with easy to use luggage, not the kind of luggage that you have to drag.
Okay.
I don't know if you get
Easy carry.
Easy carry.
So it's
Or
too
trolley.
heavy
Yeah.
to move around.
Yeah.
So simple things like that. But
Yeah.
usually from as you travel, you realize things that you need on the way.
True.
So,
True.
basically.
I've heard a few people mention sunscreen, mosquito repellent, or
Mm.
insect repellent.
Those ones
that's
depends
why it
on
depends
the
on where you're
location.
Depending on where you're.
Yeah.
Some tropical places like
Yeah.
Brazil close to the
Yeah.
Amazon.
So,
Basically,
Mm.
that's interesting. All right. So the next question is, what are some unique vacation experiences or activities that listeners might want to try?
Dating.
Wow.
Dating
Yes.
on vacation, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, that's a vacation.
Yeah,
No, dating, okay, say for instance, I tell people, the more you travel, the more your expectations.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because if you're just from Abuja to Lagos to Calabar,
Yeah.
you're just restricted to a certain kind of people to choose from. Oh, I want a rich man, I want a tall man, I want a churchy man. Do you understand? But when you travel and you mix up with people, you actually know that there are people who love other things. There are people who have other experiences that you can learn from. So your dating taste widens. So that's why I said dating. When you go out to vacation and you know you're single, shine your eye. Shine your eye. Don't go and be doing I went to eat, I went to swim, I went to swim with the sharks. Is it shark that will marry you?
Wow,
I
interesting.
like that. I like that.
Go out there, exchange contacts with locals and other travelers. You just don't know where your spouse will be.
And
So
then you
that's
get ideas.
yeah, you get ideas as well. So you come back, you've been in a toxic relationship, or you've been out there, you've seen how men actually treat women and how women actually submit to men. You come and do things differently.
Yeah.
But if you're just here and you're seeing Mama and Kechi shouting at Papa Amara every day, that's the same thing you do. You replicate.
You're only as good as your
Exactly.
environment.
Yeah. So going on vacation cuts across just going to make cute videos, take pictures, exactly. Come back and show off that, oh, I went to here and here. I personally don't post pictures, vacation pictures.
Wow.
And people who actually are close to me, I shared with them personally. And they'll be like, why don't you put up this content? I'm not a content creator. Do you understand? So most people just go out there to mark the records that, oh, I went to Egypt, and me too, I went to so and so place. But did you actually get anything of value from your travel? Because you travel to learn.
Yeah.
Did you learn a new recipe? Did you make friends? Did you learn a new culture? Okay, you went to Mexico, as they call it, Mexico. What did you bring back from there? Is it the people's culture? Is it the way they respect people? Or is it how they talk, how they walk? There must be something of value that you bring back aside your cute pictures, of course. But shall be sharing pictures with us when you travel.
Yeah. I mean, it shows us the demographic and what people enjoy.
Yeah.
And actually it promotes the whole idea of travel because it's an education.
Yeah.
It's an education. You stay stuck in one environment for too long, then although there's a bridge now because of the media world and the whole internet world. So even when you've not traveled, you almost travel through the experiences
of others.
You understand? But if you do it yourself, people should invest in it.
True.
People should invest in it.
True.
Toxic people will be able to shake off some traits. Too much over serious people will be, And sometimes it's not your fault. The environment could do that to you. You understand? The stresses of the environment could do that to you. Epileptic power or just some stress at workplace or the routine you go through to get to work and all, So just for some time you leave all of that and then you can just go and enjoy something else.
Right. Something different.
Yeah, I just like your line of thought about how it improves a person. How it improves a person.
Very interesting. Okay, so dear listeners, you have it there. All the information you need to get on how to book a private jet and how to go for vacations, where to go to, So don't forget, the number on your screen is the number you call anytime you want to book a private jet or you want to book for a vacation. And follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, Raymart Aviation. This is the travel podcast from Raymart Aviation. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. Thank you for listening. Thank you. See you again. Bye.
Thank you.